He smirked at their wedding. Glad you finally saw it was just the alcohol. I smiled back. Funny. I have the sober texts where you begged the other woman to meet you. The shock on his face. The silence. His perfect excuse just shattered in front of everyone. So, I'm hoping to get a sanity check here because I feel like I'm losing my mind. My friend. Let's call her Jess mid-20s F. Lives in a different state. So we don't talk every day. But we're close. A few weeks ago. My phone blows up. It's her. And she's crying so hard I can barely understand what she's saying. It turns out she and her boyfriend of 2 years. We'll call him Mark mid-20s M. Are done. Over. Kaput. After she calms down a little. She tells me the story. She came home early and found him on the phone. His voice was low. And something just felt off. She listened for a second and realized he was talking to another woman. Not just talking, it was intimate. Turns out, it was a married coworker of his. The whole ugly story comes out. For weeks. Had been waiting for Jess to fall asleep. Then had start drinking and sexting this other woman. My first reaction is just pure rage on her behalf. But then comes the part that's been eating at me. Mark's defense. He breaks down. Crying. Telling Jess that he's a secret alcoholic. He swears up and down that he never would have done this sober. He claims the drinking was a compulsion he couldn't control. And the cheating was just a stupid, drunken byproduct of the disease. And look. I get that addiction is a real, brutal thing. But my brain immediately hit a snag. I asked Jess. Wait. You had no idea he was an alcoholic? You lived with him? And she said no. She never suspected a thing. He was apparently a pro at hiding it. This is the first massive red flag for me. My mind started trying to work through the logistics. If you're getting so drunk that you're not in control of your actions, to the point of repeatedly cheating, there have to be signs. Right? The smell of booze on your breath in the morning. Stumbling to bed. Being a little too loud. Something. Anyone who gets truly wasted isn't exactly subtle about it. Jess is a light sleeper. And she never noticed a thing. So, this is my thought process. If he was coherent and quiet enough to not wake up his live-in girlfriend night after night, then he wasn't that drunk. He wasn't blackout. Incoherent. Don't know what I'm doing drunk. He was functional. And if he was functional, he was making a conscious decision. He decided to pick up his phone. He decided to text this woman. He decided to do it again the next night. And the night after that. The alcohol might have lowered his inhibitions. But it didn't hijack his thumbs and type out you up for him. At the time, I just listened. I told her I was so sorry and that she deserved the world. But in the back of my head, a voice was screaming. This is a bullshit excuse for a cheater who got caught. He's blaming an addiction he managed to hide perfectly for a betrayal he actively participated in. But I felt like I couldn't say that to her. Not yet. The whole thing just felt so off. And honestly, this was just the beginning of the problem. The initial shock was bad enough. But what's happened over the last few weeks is what's really twisting me up. I've been talking to Jess on the phone almost every night. And I can hear her getting worn down. The story she's hearing from everyone around her, the people she sees every day, whose opinions she actually listens to, is starting to sound like a rehearsed script. Every single person in her immediate circle is feeding her the same line. He never would have done it if it wasn't for the drinking. Her mom. Her best friend from work. They all say some version of it. They're treating his confession of alcoholism not as a component of his betrayal, but as a complete excuse for it. The narrative they're building is that Mark isn't the bad guy. The addiction is the villain. He's just another one of its victims. The breaking point for me was when she told me what one of her closest friends, a woman who was cheated on herself a few years ago, said to her. I braced myself, expecting this friend, of all people, to be the one to talk some sense into her. Instead, Jess told me. She said that his situation is different because it was driven by an illness. I swear to God. I had to put my phone on mute for a second so she wouldn't hear me shout. What do you mean it's different? How can you look another woman in the eye, knowing the specific pain of being betrayed, and give the guy who did it a free pass? My goal in these calls is to be a supportive friend. But my dilemma is that I feel like I'm the only person in her life living in reality. Everyone there on the ground with her is wrapping her in this warm, comfortable blanket of excuses. It's an easy story to accept. Right. It means her 2-year relationship wasn't a lie. It was just derailed by a disease. It means the man she loves isn't a scumbag. He's just sick. Every time I try to gently push back, I can feel her pull away. If I say, "But Jess, he still made a choice. Even if he was drinking," she gets quiet. I'm fighting an entire echo chamber from 1,000 miles away. They're the ones bringing her ice cream and giving her hugs. I'm just a voice on the phone telling her a truth she doesn't want to hear. I'm quickly realizing that if I push too hard, I'm not going to be the voice of reason. I'm just going to be the asshole friend who doesn't get it. And she'll stop calling. It feels like my hands are tied. So here's where my brain just completely short circuits, and I need you all to tell me if I'm the crazy one. This wasn't a one-time, drunken mistake at a party. This was a pattern of behavior that went on for weeks. Multiple times a week. He would wait for her to be asleep, get drunk, and then start up with this other woman. My thinking goes like this. He wasn't drunk 24/7. He had to be sober at some point during the day. He had a job he had to go to. He had conversations with Jess. So, let's talk about the moments in between the drinking. Let's talk about the morning after the first time he cheated. He would have woken up sober. Or at least sobering up. With texts on his phone as proof of what had done. A person who is truly horrified by their actions and blames the alcohol would have a moment of clarity right then. They would think, "Oh my God. What did I do? I have a serious problem. I need to get help. I need to stop." But he didn't. He let Jess kiss him goodbye before work. He went about his day. And then he did it all over again the next night. Or the night after that. That, to me, isn't an action dictated by addiction. That's a series of conscious choices. The sober him was actively covering for the drunk him. The sober him was just as complicit. The alcohol wasn't the cause. It was the excuse he was building for himself. A convenient scapegoat for when he eventually got caught. To be crystal clear, I support my friend. 100%. If she decides to take him back and help him through recovery, I will bite my tongue and be there for her. Even though I think this bitch boy is a weight holding her down. Her happiness is what matters. And I want to abandon her over a guy. But I need some outside perspective before I completely lose it. From anyone out there. But especially from any recovering alcoholics or people who have loved one. Am I being too harsh? Is there a piece of the puzzle I'm missing? Is there something fundamental about the mindset of an alcoholic that can actually validate or explain consistently cheating like this? I need to know if I'm way out of line for thinking that drinking is a shitty excuse for being a cheater. And that she should not forgive his cheating ass.